right, man. Bob Arum was on the Boxing Voice today, and he said some things. In one video I'll say for the morning, I'll cut it in the morning and all that stuff. But one of the main things that he did say is that, trainer and coach of Terence Crawford, Brian McIntyre, Bo-Mac, he said that I guess, he was misquoted in saying that Crawford's contract would be up in 2020 with Top Rank. Bob Arum revealed that the contract was extended past that previous time point that was supposed to be over with, and I'll explain it. We back, Goodfellas Sports TV. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. Okay. All right. Boxing business time, right? Don't know a lot about boxing contracts. I've seen a couple in my day. It's none of my business to reveal what contracts that were sent to me and what I've seen. But one thing I do know about Top Rank contracts, if it says it's a 3-year deal or a 6-fight deal for 3 years, I'm just doing a hypothetical out there, that there are things in that contract that can extend the deal. You know what I'm saying? So, let's say you became a world champion, and somewhere in that contract, if Top Rank helps you become a world champion, that may extend your contract, I'm just saying hypothetically, by 3 fights. All right? If you make this many title defenses with us, that might extend your contract by a fight or 2. But what Bob Arum ended up saying is that his contract is not over in 2020, and that he's basically saying that Terence Crawford is going to be retiring with ESPN Top Rank. He don't see basically his contract is to the end of his career. Okay, I guess he won't envision Crawford fighting into his 40s. And I don't think anybody wants to envision themselves fighting into their 40s when they can retire comfortably. So basically he's saying Crawford is there to stay. He ain't going nowhere. His contract not up in 2020. And what made me believe that, I'm like, what made me not believe that when they was pushing that and they were saying that, even when Bo-Mac was quoted it's saying that he just signed back in 2018. Why would Top Rank only sign him to a 2-fight year deal? Not even full 2. Well, unless it went to October 2020 or whatever it was, he fought Jose Benavidez. For me, it didn't sound right. Knowing Top Rank contracts, knowing having discussions with people about their contracts, knowing if you had this many title defenses or they help you become a world title holder, or knowing just how the contract is, it's going to be hard to get out that contract. That's why Floyd had to buy himself out $250,000 out of that contract. It's not an easy contract to get in and get out of. So at the end of the day, for Crawford, he's stuck in the situation he's stuck in. And people say, oh, why did he re-sign the Top Rank? Why didn't he was a free agent? Why didn't he go to Premier Boxing Champions? It's easy because it's not that easy to begin with. You looking back at Crawford's career, he wasn't Errol Spence. He wasn't an Olympian, okay? He was more like the Charlo twins, which I think the Charlo twins both got eliminated out the Olympics, or one of them, by Vanes Monterosian. But they wasn't highly touted. For everybody to know, at once upon a time, Shelly Finkel was Jamil Charlo's promoter. And then he became a manager. He can't be a promoter and manager at the same time. And eventually he found his way to Golden Boy, wrote his release of Golden Boy because Oscar De La Hoya lied to him about fighting Canelo Alvarez. They gave it to James Kirkland. Okay? Talk about more contract stuff. It's been said that James Kirkland in the contract couldn't fight with Aaron Wolf as his trainer. If he had Aaron Wolf as his trainer, he couldn't fight Canelo. Look at Canelo. Just talk about boxing contracts. Canelo's Golden Boy has non-disclosure agreements to Canelo contract where they can't talk about the rehydration clause and they can't bring up other certain things that's going on. So boxing contracts is deeper than what you know. They say, oh, this guy's getting $20 million to fight. Your average boxing contract with promoter, it's a promoter fee in there. In some contracts I've seen where promoters get half the purse. 50% of the purse is going into the promoter's pocket. You know what I'm saying? It's like Top Rank contracts are like music contracts. How Bob Arum get guys keep coming over there is the signing bonus money. Adrian Broner will tell you. If anybody can get an interview with Adrian Broner or find an interview with Adrian Broner, said Bob Arum set out, I can't remember, an undisclosed amount of money. Bob Arum had him come to his house and set a whole bunch of money on the table and told AB, it's yours if you sign with me right now. Let's rewind and go back to Straight Outta Compton with Ice Cube, where Jerry Heller allegedly told Ice Cube, sign a contract, and it's, what it was, it $80,000, $100,000 contract is yours. It's yours. You sign it right now, it's yours. And Ice Cube say, what? Oh, my lawyers got to look through it. Oh, lawyers get in it. And he knew right then and there his short-term happiness wasn't worth long-term misery. So Ice Cube and Adrian Broner, they made the right decisions to walk away from the deal. But you go back and look at a Terence Crawford, a guy that was with Matador Sports, fighting on the undercard. I remember when Ness was talking about Crawford when he had dreads. Fighting on the undercard. God knows, making nothing. Making $100,000, $20,000, $30,000 a fight. Top Rank comes in, or before Top Rank comes in, Timothy Bradley tries to sign him. He was still with Gary Shaw. Long story short, Top Rank comes in, make a deal with Matador Sports, which they got sued for because they wasn't paying them the right amount of money for them to take Crawford services over from Matador Sports. And they still supposed to get an equal percentage of, they split out of Crawford's purse, but it's supposed to come from Top Rank. Top Rank is supposed to pay they purse they would be getting from Crawford. Not out of Crawford money. What happened was, Terence Crawford didn't have no other options. Wasn't no Al Haymon, wasn't no recruitment process. Wasn't no Gary Shaw. Then if you didn't know, Rock Nation ended up absorbing Gary Shaw. It wasn't no Lou DiBella coming. It wasn't no Kathy Duva. It wasn't no Al Haymon knocking on his door. Al Haymon affiliates, wasn't Mayweather. Nobody knew about this kid. Nobody knew about him. So, hey, Top Rank laid a deal on his table, more money than he ever seen. No telling what Bob Arum laid out the signing bonus on the table. His contract, I can't really remember. His contract might have cycled like 8, 9 fights, 10 fights. He was under contract from like, what was it, maybe 13 or 14 or 15, all the way to like 18. It was a while. It was a minute. Remember his first fight? It was first British press guy. He went up and waited and came back down. In all the fights that he was doing before that, right? All the fights that he was doing before when he was Matador Sports, guess what? He didn't get no title shot. He instantly came over to Top Rank, fought a couple fights, got a title shot. So it's politics. So once you sign with Top Rank, it's hard to get out. He signed, you know what I'm saying? They probably showed him more money. He started making a couple $100,000, eventually making his way up to 7 figures. And just let's just say 2 years from then, he was a dude making probably $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a fight. So you're going to sit and not make $100,000, millions and millions of dollars when you ain't getting no younger because of Top Rank reputation. It was an opportunity for him. Contract be hot wired where if you ain't no use to Top Rank no more, they let you go. But if you were used to them, they going to retain you. So his contract run out. You get to the last fight of your contract with Top Rank. They like either sign this extension or buy yourself out or you're going to sit on the shelf. This is not as simple as buying your way out. You're going to be in court for 2 or 3 years. This is a guy that gave up his beginning of his career. Timothy Bradley said he should have been a world champion by the time he sparred him. And he had to spar Timothy Bradley right-handed. Or as a southpaw. And Bradley didn't even know he was a natural right-hander. So he wasted the beginning of his career because he didn't have the opportunity. You know how many good fighters out there that's in gyms, that's working jobs, that can be world champions? Who don't get courted? If it wasn't for Timothy Bradley, if it wasn't for Mikey Garcia telling Cameron Duncan about, Terence Crawford, Mikey Garcia without Mikey, he wouldn't even have been, in this position. Maybe 2, 3 years down the line, somebody would have caught him on the undercard. And his career would have been 2 or 3 years different. So when people say, why he signed with Top Rank, you act like he had a choice to begin with. And when you get your last deal of your contract with Top Rank, then if you want to get out, then you got to buy your way out, but then you got to sit in court for a year. So Crawford had a year worth of money to forget. Remember, Errol Spence was getting money with PBC from the beginning of PBC in 14 to 15, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them dudes, man, Keith Thurman, by the time he was ready for world championship level, he signed with PBC. He been getting money when Crawford was still getting chump change. You know, so it ain't that easy. But with him being in that contract, you know what? If every time I go out there, I'm guaranteed 3.5 plus money on the back end, I ain't tripping. You know what? He can't control. You can't worry about what you can't control. The fans can laugh. The fans can make fun of him. But guess what? Tell me how many motherfuckers every time they go out and fight, they getting 3.5. None of them. Because real fans don't laugh at the best not fighting the best. Real fans don't come up with excuses, you know, for another fighter, for ducking another fighter. Them ain't real fans. Them ain't dudes that can identify with the culture of boxing. Those are culture vultures. A lot of these dudes that get a microphone, they get a camera, and they get a microphone. You know why they in the boxing new media, or why they try to be in the media, or why they try to be a fan with a microphone? It's because they couldn't find another niche on YouTube. So you go out here and say, "Oh, I was the brick man in Dallas, South Dallas. I was the brick man, or I was the tree man in Milwaukee." All right, or I was getting them 15-5 in Ohio. Or I was the man in the Bronx. Or I was the man in Watts. And you start vlogging about that, guess what? People are like, man, no, you wasn't. I don't remember you. And then you're going to be a fraud all over the internet. So you can hide in boxing. You can talk these boxing fans out their drawers and panties and exploit them without nobody checking your resume. Without nobody saying, hey, man, how long you been watching boxing? As long as Errol Spence been boxing, I'm telling you what it is. Real boxing fans don't laugh or joke about the best not fighting the best, no matter what side of the field you're sitting on, what side of the ring you're sitting on, what side of the penalty you're sitting on. The one thing all hardcore boxing fans from Russia, Ukraine, Australia, China, one of the 100 countries in Africa, in South Africa, in Brazil, South America, Mexico, Nebraska, Canada, Quebec, Montreal, wherever. One thing we all got in Antarctica. One thing we all got in common is that we want to see the best fight the best, no matter what the outcome is. Beware you messing with these culture vultures, man, who don't want the best fighting the best. They want to just laugh because they already know what it is. But for Crawford, his contract is basically till his career is up. It is what it is. Everybody can't be on PBC, then it'll be called a monopoly. You know, but it is what it is. Either Al Haymon gonna make the fight happen. People saying, "Oh, Bob said Al wanted to make the fight." I've been saying that for 2 years now. What else Bob gonna sell? What else hope can Bob sell to Terence and sell to the boxing fans? Bob played hardball on HBO, getting Al Haymon put off HBO. You know what I'm saying? Bob Arum played the huge part in the demise of HBO. The reason the HBO went away is because he ran Al Haymon off HBO. Instead of when I was willing to work with him, they didn't want to do it. So he was part of the problem too. Now he been humbled, and now everybody got to work together, and they need Al. Now they want Al to turn the other cheek. You have to pay that price. But at the end of the day, we just hope to see the best fighting the best. You know, with Terence, he eventually. All them motherfuckers old too. Eventually they gonna have to move up or move out or watch Virgil Ortiz and eventually Devin Haney, Barrios and Jose Ramirez and Jerron Ennis and maybe Teofimo Lopez. They got to get down and lay down. At the end of the day, the game is a young man's game. It's a young Lions game. Either they gonna get ran out the division by some young Lions, or they gonna hold their position for a little bit longer. But time waits for no man. You know, but for Crawford, I want to see those fights. And people say, if Crawford lose to Errol Spence or lose to some of those other big names, so be it. It is what it is. It ain't like I'm not going to show my face. Like, okay, he lost. It ain't been the first time in boxing I've been wrong. Well, it won't be the last time I'm wrong. But people want to see the fights. You don't even just got fanboys, Errol fanboys no more. You got PBC fanboys. And now you got guys complaining about what PBC doing and not treating black media the right way. Same thing I've been preaching for 2-3 years now. But hey, it is what it is. I'll link the interview in the description. I forget what point it started off at. Just find it. It's in the beginning of the Bob Arum Q&A. It's in like the first half of the video interview, first half of the video. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Reach out to the email if you got business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video requests. Keep sharing their videos. Want to make a donation? That link's in the description. But the best way to donate is share the video. Don't forget, you can check out my other channel, Mercy Sports Talk, predominantly Detroit sports and news. Appreciate everybody that check me out over there. People ask me about my Michigan football videos and other videos. I do them over there. One time for